Are you exclusively only drinking pamplemousse flavored LaCroix,
Yes.
Kathleen?
Oh, really?
I mean,
I didn't know this.
if there's a lime in the fridge, I'll take it. But as far as what I'm purchasing, it's 3 boxes of pamplemousse LaCroix every Sunday.
3 boxes every week?
Okay, Target only has the 8 packs,
That is an important clarification.
but they
Yeah.
started giving me the whole pallet in my pickup order instead of taking.
It's an important clarification, but it's still excessive. It's
Todd would agree.
yeah. I just have to go pick up my pallet of LaCroix.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TPO Explainers. I'm Joe, podcast producer here at The Pour Over, and I'm here with Jason, our founder and editor-in-chief, and Kathleen, our managing editor. So here's the idea behind the show. Our readers share which topics they want us to explore, and then we bring that idea to the podcast. Today's winner, government shutdown.
Yes, government shutdowns. Joe, what do you know?
All right. I feel like this is deja vu multiple
over
times a
again?
year.
Yep.
Like the government is always about to shut down, and in the 11th hour, they agree to something that prevents it. My familiarity with it is I feel like it's usually budgetary or related to the budget. Like they have to come to an agreement on how much and how they're going to be spending X amount of dollars. Or if they don't, they got to shut down because there's no more money left. So that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Yes. So it is really at play is, where is it? There. The Anti-Deficiency Act. Is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Anti-Deficiency Act, which was passed in the 1800s, but it wasn't until like 100 years later in the Carter administration that they ruled, hey, actually the government should shut down because of this. So it feels like the shutdowns were sort of an unintended consequence. But broadly speaking, the Anti-Deficiency Act says that the federal government, federal agencies, employees, people cannot spend or obligate money that has not been approved by Congress. So you can't spend money, can't enter into a contract unless the dollars you are spending are approved by Congress. And if you do, it is a fine of up to $5,000 or 2 years in prison. So if NASA has been given like $100 to operate for a year and someone knowingly spends $101, then that person could go to prison. And so that's the fear is like, hey, you don't spend money that hasn't been given. And then we're on this, the fiscal year is October through September. So it is deja vu all over again. It generally happens once a year that on September 30th, all the money that has been approved for the last year is going to run out. Like it's you had this much and you were allowed to spend it up until September 30th. October 1, you need fresh approval. And so if Congress hasn't approved anything, you can't do anything. Cue shutdown.
And it feels like it's deja vu all over again because if you don't have that budget approved, Congress can pass what they call a continuing resolution, which is just a temporary fix. They're like, all right, we can't agree on the whole budget. What we can do is agree that for 90 days, we'll allocate this amount of money, and then we'll go back to the drawing board, see if we can get the full budget approved. So in that case, you would have until January to get the budget approved, and then we're right back to here comes the shutdown.
Yeah, there's the 11th hour again. Yeah.
So that's why it feels like it comes up more than once a year, but
They're kicking the pamplemousse LaCroix cans down the road.
which they should never do.
Right. No.
Who would do such a thing?
Flat pamplemousse? Imagine.
One or the first of the clarifications. So these are laws that need to be passed each year. So need to go have approval from the House and the Senate and then signed by the president. And the appropriations bills is what they're called. It's split into 12. So they so they actually need to pass 12 laws a year to correctly sets the budget for the federal government. And so the 12 things are it's like defense gets a bill and education. And because it's a huge job and the budget is, trillions of dollars,
Yeah.
they like the House Appropriations Committee has all these subcommittees, probably at least 12. and each one is tasked with like, okay, you go do this. You set the budget, and then it goes to the full House, and then it has to go to the Senate, and then it has to go to the president. And if it's changed at any point, then it has to go, like the exact final thing has to be, you can't add a comma. Like the House has to approve exactly the same as the Senate, as has to be signed by the president. And only then have you like done the budget. And so you'll get a partial government shutdown if like 6 of these things have been signed, but 6 of them haven't. Then, you know, the 6 departments or sections of the government that don't have an appropriations bill, those shut down because they don't have approved money.
So all 12 need to go through the full approval process and end up in the representatives, the Senate, the presidents. Like all 12 parts need to be approved by each of those.
Yeah, House, Senate, and president. And each one is basically its own law. And so it has to follow the full process to a bill becoming a law.
Yep. Each piece of the pie has to be approved to make a full pie. It was fascinating, though, when I was looking at the 12 different appropriations, like subcommittees and bills, just how many agencies like this impacts. I mean, just like quickly, the USDA, FDA, NASA, Department of Defense, ICE, TSA, the President himself, Department of Labor, Capitol Police, Veterans Affairs, construction of military bases, foreign aid, transportation. It's like, no wonder it takes a really long time.
Wow.
Okay, Kathleen. Well, actually, Joe, what happens if the government shuts down? Like, what does that mean?
First thought is if you are employed by the federal government, you don't clock in because you can't work. There's no money. So don't clock in.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have time off. That's, I guess, unpaid.
Great. So, hey, you're the wife of a federal employee. So what happens?
For any non-essential government employees, they stay home without pay until further notice. If you're an essential government employee, so that would be like active duty Army, TSA,
Air traffic
controllers, they would go to work without pay for however long. So, for instance, Todd, he's required to go to work. He just doesn't know when he'll be paid. But they did pass, at some point, a law mandating that you would receive back pay.
In 2019. Yep. Yeah. So
Wait, until 2019, you would not even receive back pay?
it was not guaranteed. I think you always did, but they were saying, hey, like whether you've been furloughed or you had to work without pay, like once the shutdown's over, you will get the money you expected. It's just going to be delayed.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there's essential personnel that keep working without pay. There's non-essential. And examples of that are like,
I don't know if our logo is essential or not.
yeah, our logo is not essential. It's yeah. For the podcast, it's flickering on and off obnoxiously. But so national parks close, passport and visa applications stop, SBA loans, SBA applications are paused. But there are things that do continue. The post office does because it's self-funded. And some offices, like the Patent and Trademark Office, have reserve money. Do you want to unplug the logo?
Is it bothering you?
Yeah, it's very distracting.
I mean, this is the state of the
federal government.
uncertainty.
I know.
I wasn't going to go there.
So mail still comes, and the Patent and Trademark Office has a reserve. I don't know why they do, but I don't know.
Because America is a capitalist country and we need to continue our innovation and trademark and patent.
We'll go with that.
So can we go there? Do you know who is not affected? Who still gets paid during shutdowns?
Uh-oh, you're saying that in a way that it's going to be controversial. Does the president, does
Congress?
Yes. So the Congress and the people who did not pass the bill. So Congress, members of Congress, the president, Supreme Court justices, all their pay is guaranteed through other laws outside of the appropriations bills. So those paychecks keep flowing. And you can.
Wasn't there a push like semi-recently to change that so that there was more incentive for them to pass the, am I making that up, appropriation bills?
Oh,
If not, write it down.
yeah, I have not. I haven't heard that, but that could totally be the case. Yes. So a little controversy there.
I thought it was funny.
Okay, so the most recent shutdown, well, not most, the longest shutdown.
It's most recent.
Oh, and most recent was in 2018. It lasted 35 days. It was sparked over disagreements of border wall funding. And so 380,000 employees were furloughed, unpaid leave, and 420,000 worked without pay. So slightly more government employees are essential than non. And but they all received pay once it was done, and since then that's been guaranteed.
It was interesting because that they said the cost of that shutdown was something like $5 billion, and that's from
Wow.
revenue lost from national parks, and the money they had to pay back to everybody, and just the loss of I don't know. I guess
Productivity.
productivity.
Yeah, it feels weird. It feels like it should save money. Like if the government shuts down and
You
isn't,
turn the lights off for a few days, sure,
Right.
your bill will go down.
and I don't know how that $5 billion is calculated.
I think 3 of it was the back pay. It was like a really large amount, and so
So-
it feels like that's a weird thing to say that it costs because you're going to pay that anyway. But
Right. Yeah.
don't look at me. Look at Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some very impressive source that I looked into.
Yeah. Joe, do you think you get it? You think you get government shutdown?
Yes. So, yeah, it all started from the Anti-Deficiency Act way back in the 1800s. And but the thing is, shutdowns came later. This was a functional thing that happened long after the act came into effect. And so essentially what happens during a government shutdown is the federal government and agencies can't spend money that hasn't been approved. And if you do, there is a $500 fine.
More than that.
Yeah. Up to 5,000.
Oh, up to 5,000. Thanks for
And-
clarifying.
Yeah. And
And
I
not
don't,
$1 over.
that's right. And I don't know if anyone actually has been imprisoned, but it is illegal and criminal.
Yes, you can spend some jail time.
But not money. Sorry.
It happens every year, September 30th. And so that's why we keep seeing it in the news just like clockwork, because it is. But then it can come up more than once in a year because you can get a continuing resolution to extend the time temporarily. It's kicking the can of Pamplemousse LaCroix down the road. The laws need to be passed every year through an appropriations bill, which is a subset of 12 unique bills that need to be passed through the same process every time. And so you can have a partial government shutdown if only a partial number of the 12 are passed. You could have 11 out of the 12, but that would still, we would not be out in the clear. There would still be a partial government shutdown.
That portion, whatever doesn't have approved funding, would shut down.
Yes. Essential government workers, they continue working without pay, but they will receive back pay. And interestingly, controversially, the president, Congress, Supreme Court justices, they continue to get paid during a government shutdown. So do with that info what you will. In 2018, the longest shutdown in our history thus far has been 35 days. And that's what I learned.
I just have a question. You said every September 30th this happens. Like, do we always wait until the last minute, or do they pass the appropriation bills sometimes ahead of time?
I have to imagine that they have been passed ahead of time many, many times in our country's history. I don't think it has happened much recently.
We should all write about it.
Right. And prior to the Carter administration, when these shutdowns started happening, because that was the new interpretation of this 1800s law, basically the agencies would just continue operating and be like, yeah, they'll give us the money eventually, which honestly is kind of true. That's like how it works. Is there's a lot of employees that are forced to just continue working, and they're like, they'll figure it out eventually. So, yeah, little quirk of the U.S. system. Kathleen, you wrote this article. Do you have a Christian perspective, a takeaway? What should we as believers think about that?
It's weird because I had this like roller coaster of emotions, not really, but while I was writing this of like, at the end of the day, everybody's going to get paid and like they're going to pass some kind of bill. What's it matter? Like, why is there this doom and gloom of like, here comes the government shutdown? Of course, that's like really surface level because even there is that uncertainty. Like if you stay home for however many days, like you're going to get back pay. But what if you're living bill to bill? Like, you know, but anyway, at the end of the day, our hope is not based on a political outcome. Our hope is not based on economic security or government shutting down. It is rooted in the eternal security that we have provided by Christ. So we can weather any storm, even a shutdown.
Yeah, and I think that's a great reason to place your hope in Christ because these things will come.
Yeah.
At least once this year. It will come down to the 11th hour and maybe multiple times.
Yeah. But now you know. Now you don't have to be scared when you see that headline.
You guys have taught me so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for listening to another episode of TPO Explainers. As a reminder, we are on YouTube through video and on Spotify video. So if you want to actually watch and listen at the same time to this podcast, you may do so.
To our flickering logo.
Yes. Yes, indeed. We are shutting down because we don't have enough funds to pay the lights in this building.
Yeah, this was not sponsored by LaCroix, but...
Yeah, give us a call.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.